welcome to The Breakdown. I'm Nikisha Burchell, spokesperson for Information and Public Communication. Each week, we cut through the noise and get straight to the facts. What's happening, why it matters, and what's next. Let's jump right into it with headlines that matter. Monday's last May editorial cartoon made one thing clear. This government isn't just desperate, it's downright arrogant. The image featured Prime Minister Andrew Holness and his team declaring, "We will not surrender Jamaica to the PNP. We must not allow the PNP to return to power," they said. It's the perfect reflection of the entitlement and the authoritarian streak we've seen from this administration. You see, somewhere along the way, Andrew Holness seems to have forgotten something very important. He works for the people. The people put you in, and when the time comes, they will take you out. And since we're talking about elections and decisions and who'll decide the outcome, let's take a moment to revisit some of the big promises Andrew Holness made to Jamaicans when he first took office in 2016. Promises he claimed he would deliver within his first 100 days. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. We're still waiting.
Within our first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to fix the date for general elections in Jamaica. So no government will be able to come and make false promises and hide the truth and tell you half-truths and trick you into voting for them, and then when them win, them throw on poison for you.
And here we are, 8 years later, still waiting on Andrew Holness to decide when the next election will be called. The irony.
Within the first 100 days of our government, we will start the legislative process to institute, and I want you to listen to me carefully, impeachment proceedings in Parliament. This will add another layer of protection of the Parliament to ensure that only members of unquestioned integrity sit in the Parliament.
And yet, when the opposition leader Mark Golding tabled an impeachment bill in 2021, the Prime Minister has ignored it ever since. I wonder why.
Within the first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to introduce term limits on the office of Prime Minister.
No, this one is rich. The same man who promised term limits is now the same man demanding a third term. Make it make sense.
At a convenient time within our new government, we will hold a grand referendum on the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice, as the final appellate court.
But guess what? That grand referendum is still nowhere in sight. Meanwhile, ordinary Jamaicans like me and you are struggling to afford justice at the UK Privy Council. We can't afford it. So I have to ask, who really has Jamaica's best interest at heart? Who wants us to unplug from the monarchy? Now it's time for what's to come. This week, all eyes were on opposition leader Mark Golding as he delivered a stellar, visionary budget presentation. Mark Golding gave his best budget presentation to date, and the comments are coming in. People really found a connection, something to hold on to in this budget. Is this a forecast of what's to come under Prime Minister Mark Jefferson Golding? Only time will tell. Only you can decide when we go to the polls. Based on the rave review, it is clear that Mark Golding hit it out of the Parliament this week. In fact, persons are saying if this is a preview of Jamaica under a PNP led by Mark Golding, then our future bright like morning star. Congratulations, Mark Bulling. We're proud of you. And you don't want to miss next week's episode, because I'll be breaking down both the opposition leader's speech as well as the Prime Minister's budget speech. What they got right, what they got wrong, and what it all means for me and for you. That's it for this week's episode of The Breakdown. We don't just give you the news, we give you the real story behind it. Join me next week as we continue to break down the issues that matter.